Late blooming boomer here. Hey, what's your alibi? There are three enemies you must clear out if you are to put any of this philosophy I've been talking about into successful use. These are indecision, doubt, and fear. Indecision crystallizes into doubt, and the two blend together and become fear. As the book Think and Grow Rich reminds us, there are six basic fears which can attach themselves to us. Sometimes they remain hidden in the subconscious mind where they are difficult to locate and still more difficult to eliminate. You'll notice that many of my blog posts mention my opposition to the fact that San Francisco continues to display mask advised in large 24-inch letters on city buses. What this has the potential to do is slowly brainwash people into believing that a mask will protect themselves from the other human beings who are somehow dirty and or dangerous. There's similar signage throughout the city that says gender-based harassment and assault are unacceptable. Well, of course that's unacceptable. These are two examples of how messages can be literally planted into people's minds, left there to grow and create an environment of paranoia and fear. Some have commented to me that I'm overreacting, and if I am, then I beg your forgiveness. But San Francisco has been bombarded for almost 3 years with everything from stay 6 feet apart signs all over the place, to plexiglass barriers in Walgreens, to people wearing plastic gloves, face shields, and masks, even to this day, almost 3 years since the 2 weeks to flatten the curve. This has had a chilling effect on society, especially for the young adults and children. Today, I turn the spotlight upon the cause and the cure of the six basic fears. The six basic fears. Every human being suffers from some combination of them at one time or other. All other fears are of minor importance and can be grouped under these six headings. Number one, the fear of poverty. Number two, the fear of criticism. Number three, the fear of ill health. Number four, the fear of loss of love of someone. Number five, the fear of old age. And number six, the fear of death. Fears are nothing more than states of mind. And states of mind are something you can learn to control and direct. This is why it is very important to understand a very important point. Thought impulses begin immediately to translate themselves into their physical equivalent, whether those thoughts are voluntary or involuntary. Thought impulses picked up through the ether by mere chance, in other words, thoughts released by other minds, may determine one's financial, business, professional, or social destiny, just as surely as the thought impulses one creates by intent and design. Nature has endowed us with absolute control over but one thing, and that is thought. If you combine that with the idea that everything people create begins in the form of a thought, leads one very near to the principle which fear may be mastered. Following the Wall Street crash of 1929, the people of the United States were compelled to think of poverty. And this is exactly what we're battling after this pandemic. While you may be positive and optimistic, the vibration of society as a whole has been led down the path of distrust, indecision, hopelessness, and despair. And this seems to be amplified by the current leadership in many parts of the country. It is to this end that I offer satire on sanfranfearful.com, and come Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I offer up Fearless Fridays, Solution Saturdays, and Sunday Sensibilities. So let's take a look at these fears we all have from time to time in our lives. The fear of poverty. If you want riches, financial, spiritual, mental, or material, you must refuse to accept any circumstance that leads towards poverty. Nothing brings so much suffering and humility as poverty. And only those who have experienced poverty understand the full meaning of this. Most people, if asked what they fear most, would reply, "I fear nothing." Humor me a little, and let's look at the symptoms of the fear of poverty and reflect on your own life And be honest with yourself. This is about getting at the truth, even though it may temporarily embarrass you. Indifference. Example, I don't give a fuck. Indecision. Example is staying on the fence. Doubt. Example is alibis and excuses, responsible for nothing. Worry, for example, finds fault in others, spends beyond income, neglect of personal appearance, scowling and frowning, drunkard, nervous, self-conscious, and lack of self-reliance. Overcaution. Example, only seeing the negative, always waiting for the right time. Procrastination. Example, putting everything off until tomorrow, or refusal to accept responsibility and lack of self-confidence. The fear of criticism. Criticism is the one form of service of which everyone has too much. Everyone has a stock of it that is handed out for free, whether called for or not. One's nearest relatives are often the worst offenders. Criticism will plant fear or resentment in the human heart, but it will not build love or affection. The fear of ill health. This is a fear both inherited and influenced by your environment. It has been proved that people might be made ill by suggestion. Another reason why the mask advise signs need to come down as soon as possible. The fear of loss of love. One of the distinguishing symptoms of this fear is jealousy, being suspicious of friends and loved ones without any reasonable evidence. Other symptoms are general suspicion of everyone, absolute faith in no one, finding fault with friends, relatives, business associates, and loved ones upon the slightest provocation or without any cause whatsoever. The fear of old age. The truth is that some of our most useful years, mentally and spiritually, are those in later life. Unfortunately, there are older men and women who lose their initiative, imagination, and self-reliance by falsely believing themselves too old to exercise the qualities. The fear of death. To some, this is the cruelest of all the basic fears. The reason is obvious. The entire world is made up of only two things, energy and matter. Neither can be created or destroyed, only transformed. If death is not mere change or transition, then nothing comes after death except a long, eternal, peaceful sleep, and sleep is nothing to be feared. Thus, you may wipe out forever the fear of death. Now, all these things have to do with state, and the state that you're generally in is worry, and it's a state of mind based upon fear. It works slowly but persistently. It is insidious and subtle. Step by step, it digs itself in until it paralyzes one's reasoning faculty and destroys self-confidence and initiative. Worry is a form of sustained fear caused by indecision. Therefore, it is a state of mind which can be controlled. During periods of economic unrest, people are handicapped not only by their inherent tendency to be slow at reaching decisions, but also by the indecision of others around them who have created a state of mass indecision. The 6 basic fears become translated into a state of worry through indecision. Relieve yourself forever of the fear of death by reaching a decision to accept death as an inescapable event. Whip the fear of poverty by reaching a decision to get along with whatever wealth you can accumulate without worry. Put your foot upon the neck of the fear of criticism by reaching a decision not to worry about what other people think, do, or say. Eliminate the fear of old age by reaching a decision to accept it, not as a handicap, but as a great blessing which carries with it wisdom, self-control, and understanding not known to youth. Acquit yourself of the fear of ill health by the decision to forget symptoms. Master the fear of loss of love by reaching a decision to get along without love, if that's necessary. Kill the habit of worry in all its forms by reaching a general blanket decision that nothing life has to offer is worth the price of worry. The vibrations of fear pass from one mind to another just as quickly and as surely as the sound of the human voice passes from the broadcasting station to the receiving station and by the self-same medium. The presence in the mind of any destructive emotion develops a negative personality that repels people and often converts them into antagonists. That's really interesting, and it makes me question some of my past blog posts, which contain what could be considered as mean-spirited thoughts. Therefore, I will refine my future posts accordingly because the intention is to make people laugh with these blog posts. Like you, I am also continuously making efforts to raise my vibration and in the process be mindful of my own sarcasm and what that really attracts into my world. The concepts I shared in this video came from the book Think and Grow Rich, written by Napoleon Hill and Rosa Lee Beeland, and released in 1937. Mind control is the result of self-discipline and habit. You either control your mind or it controls you. There is no halfway compromise. The most practical of all methods for controlling the mind is the habit of keeping it busy with a definite purpose, backed by a definite plan. Study the record of people who have achieved noteworthy success, and you will observe that they have control over their own minds. Moreover, that they exercise that control and direct it towards the attainment of definite objectives. Without this control, success is not possible. If you like this kind of information, be sure to get my free recordings at developyoursuperpowers.com and have a great day. Oh, also, I added another page of 55 common alibis, and I'll put the link in the description. So I'll see you next week for another Fearless Friday. Have a great week.